this is some really finely growing, but put all the crystals on everything. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks absolutely beautiful.
So how you should be curing it, you kind of skipped over that last section.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yes, so, for the end of the growing cycle, it's good to just feed your plants water for up to 3 weeks, depending on your strain. Between 2 and 3 weeks, they'll grow quite nicely, and that's how you produce super crystal, too, is by starting to flush them out, making them work with what they've already got, and making them work harder. So, should I go back to that? You want me to go back to that? Okay. So another thing to remember, that once you've grown your medicine, you've taken you months to do it. A really important thing to do now is not to hurry it while you're drying it. You want it to dry thoroughly and quickly, but it takes, so it usually takes about 4 to 5 days to dry it, but it takes 14 days for the plant to finish going through a chemical conversion. And if you don't leave it for that full 2 weeks, it won't burn nicely, it'll taste like it's over fertilized, and you'll think, what the heck have I done? And it's not what you've done with your growing, hopefully. It's just that you really want to smoke this, like, hey, we picked it today, let's try some. I know that all too well. And if you can wait for 2 weeks, 14 days for the plant to finish going through its chemical conversion, and you'll have a beautiful, fine smoking weed that'll smoke as beautiful as it looks.
I also heard that it helps to have it to be dark because it helps with the crystals forming. The crystals form better in the dark than in the light. So when the crystals are forming during that hanging process, it's dark, they'll multiply a little bit more.
Helps to deteriorate
It was the back of the room, think of that one.
What do you mean? Actually, at harvest time, when you harvest, they say you should do it at night time.
Yeah, but then when it's curing...
But when you're curing, there's all you're sweating and drying it. If you're just going to hang it, I'd say hang it up in the dark, but if you were curing it, like putting it in jars and keep open and closing, I wouldn't. Because the bacteria...
Sort of a standard known...
Well, there's two different. If you're just hanging it dry, but if you're curing it dry, that's totally different because you create moisture, so you want to lay it out. So it's, you know what I mean? You're going to have to do it in light, right? But it's still, I'd rather cure it than just hang it myself.
Yeah. What is the difference?
You know what I mean?
You hang it for a certain amount of time, okay, and then when the buds feel dry, you take it off of the stalks finally. That's how I like to do it. I like to hang it until it feels nice and dry, and then take the buds off of the stalks, and at that point there's still a lot of moisture in the stalks, so you want to put it into glass jars. Gallon jars work really nicely, and you start with leaving the jars mostly open and just closing them maybe for an hour once or twice a day, and then each day you'll leave them shut a little bit longer, and then as you get closer to the end of the 2 weeks, you'll be leaving them mostly shut and then fluffing them up for a little, leaving the lid off for an hour or so only. Then what that does is it draws the remaining moisture out of the stalk.
And I find doing them underneath florals, I do that on a cloning rack with florals, the jars, and I can see the sweat coming out of it, the condensation, and I know when to take it out. But if it's in the dark, you would never see that. Then you're going to get too much mold, right?
Yeah. No, I wouldn't recommend doing it in the dark.
To store it after it's cured.
Yeah.
What if you left it for longer than 2 weeks? Would it just keep getting better and better?
It depends on how you stored it.
If there's like a sealed glass.
Yeah, it does, because as you it says keep your leaf after you trim, and that's to bake with, right? So part of the baking procedure, and I'll teach you about that in 2 weeks, is Dr. Wormy already told you about, is decarboxylation. It's converting the inactive THC acid to active THC, and that occurs naturally if you store it over a period of 1 to 2 years.
I've also heard, interestingly enough, that one of the things that's happening as the plant is drying in it, from say 10 days to 20 days or 28 days, is the plant is off-gassing nitrogen. And if you open up your jar or bag for half an hour a day, it allows the plant material to breathe, so the nitrogen can kind of escape, which is good because you want to get rid of any nitrogen that's left in it. So whether it's off-gassing it, or that's the only way it has to get rid of it at that point. So the salts will somehow turn into a vapor, and letting that go for half an hour a day is good. And I think that the introduction of a little bit of oxygen helps in the process of turning the different cannabinoids into THC.
Yeah, it's almost like a fermentation, right? It's kind of like wine.
Like a what?
Almost like a wine, right? It gets better taste.
Yeah, like in the essential oils as well. Like I would have to say that probably day 18 to 20 after harvest is probably the best time, and it would have been dry enough to smoke after day 12, but an extra 7 days can actually, I think with the essential oils, make a good difference. But we got like 2 minutes left, I think.
So, as I pointed out in the last picture, the crystals, this is a blow up of the trichome. This is the leaf wall. And so it forms first of all on the stalk, the resin comes up in the middle and makes that ball that you see. If anybody came to the film festival, we had awesome pictures of that as they were growing that. And these trichomes, as they get ripe, they start off clear, and as they get ripe, they change colors. So with a magnifying glass, that's what you watch for your harvest time. When it's time to harvest your plants, these will start to glow a nice amber or golden color. Or a better picture over here. Yeah. Oh, it's not color. But there's, I don't know how many times that's magnified, but that's what they look like.
You can see kind of like a line in them, eh?
These are what we screen off to make hash of.
Yeah, I thought it was neat seeing the one scientific drawing and then the real one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Looks like it's sort of like so latent with the sap and the sort of liquid version before it becomes crystal that it's sort of like leaning over by the weight of it.
Is there any questions? Did I forget anything? We could go on and on just about lighting. The updates in the lighting situation has just been incredible. There's a compact fluorescent bulb that they've come out with specific, and all of these, and here's an LED. All of these, and this one is pretty wild. It can change from red to blue spectrum depending on the stage of the plant's flowering. So they're really producing all these things specific for growing.
And plus digital balances too became 30% cheaper to run.
But we can teach a whole class just on.
Actually, I was going to say we'll keep these at the front here. We got to wrap the class up. So if you're interested, we have these here, and we'll have them to the floor. Thank you so much. Right on. Like I say, she'll be back up here in 2 weeks, teaching people how to make the products, this food and skin products that we sell. We're up to 27 food and skin products at the club. And so, yeah, we'll be doing that in 2 weeks. Next week, I think it's medical, no, it's not medical uses. Health impacts of cannabis. Anyway, you got to put up with me. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. We'll see you back next week.
Thank you, everybody. Showing up. Peace out. 420.
You sign it every day. Right?